I can use tab completion to finish commands. When there's only one P there, I can do -P desktop. Just do / desktop. It's a terrible example, sorry. P is starting the grammar. Also because the .NET language integration with the .NET framework is integrated really, really well with everything within the .NET its libraries. PowerShell can call up any one of the assemblies or the precompiled DLLs or executables from .NET, so long as you know how to program in .NET. So a few things I've seen come out where, well, one big thing is the Windows presentation framework. That's the framework where if you can create windows within PowerShell, or sorry, within .NET, and you be presented with something like this. We have this example, which is like an extensible markup language. I don't remember what the A was for, but it's a form of XML, and this is basically saying what the window looks like.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Dave Morse.
John, all right, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, John.
I'm Lee. Lee?
Daniel.
Okay.
Say it again?
Daniel.
Daniel, all right.
I'm Matthew.
Hello, Matthew.
Nice to meet you.
You guys already started?
Just 1 minute.
Just maybe doing PowerShell. You can use PowerShell to remotely connect to other servers to load those assemblies. I'll get into that in a minute, but create this exit button on the corner because right now I maximized it. So just as I was talking about before, this XML is actually defining a window. I won't go into this too much, but I will remove that. And you'll see that it's still creating a window. So I'm using XP on this. It's actually a virtual machine. I'm running to and XP is a virtual machine here. So I'll be showing you the examples within XP. Now, so long as you have .NET Framework 2.0 and above, you can use PowerShell. PowerShell is pre-installed on Windows 7 and above. You have to install it as a component within Windows Vista. So you don't need the CDs when you install Windows Vista, but with Windows XP you need to download the binary support. And it's the WinRM, so the Windows Remote Management Framework is what you're downloading for Windows XP. Now you only need .NET 2.0 and above in order to run PowerShell on Windows XP or later. But in order to use things like the integrated scripting environment, you need .NET Framework 3.5 and above. So I'll get into that in more of a moment, more of that in a moment, but here's some of the basic commands in PowerShell that line up with, I got this from Wikipedia, so you can go online and see the same thing. It's got bash, Unix shell commands to the right, command.com or command.exe commands to the first column, the third column to the right. PowerShell commandlets and the aliases. Just like other command lines, you can make aliases. PowerShell is really great because it includes a lot of the same aliases from command lines, the native Windows command line, and the Unix shell. So if you type in ls into PowerShell, you'll get the same thing as the shell item. I'll go into those commands more in a bit. I'll come back to the slide later. But a lot of the things that people don't understand, like what exactly a commandlet, what does a commandlet mean? What the hell is a commandlet? So in PowerShell, when you're in the command line, you've got one or four different categories of commands. They're the commandlet, the native commands, the scripts, and the functions. Now functions are things that you can declare within the PowerShell command line. Like other programming languages, you can create a function on the fly to do something that you'd like to do. So I'm going to pull up this PowerShell here, and I'll show you a quick function. And the function will be repeat. And then what we'll do is we'll take a variable and just call it text. can either use right host or echo. They're aliases of each other, but I like right host. I mean, makes things clearer for me. So there's our function. We do repeats. We repeat whatever was in there. So that's a quick way of creating functions, and that's only within the PowerShell session. Now if I exit out and go back into PowerShell, repeats, this is the same one. So functions are kind of only there when you declare them. Scripts are semi or permanent somewhat, where you have a file and all those functions are compiled within the same script. So the script is just like I said, it's just a file with all the functions and the commands you're giving it. Native command is where you'll have things like shutdown, things like the app command, net command. The app command is for scheduling, in case you didn't already know, and the net command is for doing things with the net tools within command line for Windows. And a commandlet, the final thing, commandlet, we can get to. Oops, sorry. Commandlet is where it's actually taking an assembly compiled in .NET Framework, loading that into memory. And what you're using are...
Sorry to interrupt, but I didn't get it. Was it a pre-setup assembly? There are a list of them already existent, or are you creating them?
They've already been created.
Okay.
So you can load commandlets in. Things like the Quest App Directory Suite is a really good one. Exchange admin tools, SQL admin tools, those are all commandlets because they're precompiled binaries compiled already into DLL files, and those are loaded up against memory within PowerShell. Now, commandlets, there are some native commandlets, and there's some ones you have to add. Generally, things like the Exchange admin tools or the Quest App Directory tools, they've got their own link where you click on the link, it's going to run the script where it's going to load all those commandlets into memory. It's going to load up a bunch of DLLs into memory. So commandlet is more of a binary way of forming functions within PowerShell. Native commands are already there at present. You can run them within command.com or, sorry, Cmdlets. Functions are kind of, they're not permanent. Scripts are permanent. So if you've never used PowerShell before, the simplest way is just typing in commands, hitting enter. They're structured in a verb-noun syntax, which if you see a lot of scripts, you will start seeing things like this. Over time, it's going to get really wordy, like this right here. So you start getting, you're going to see a lot of words associated with things, with the PowerShell scripts, because of the whole verb-noun syntax. Those aren't perfect examples there, but I'll show you. Command. So ls is an alias of get shell item now. First is other command lines where command line is a shell that's interacting with the operating system. PowerShell is a little bit different. PowerShell is a shell that's interacting with .NET, which is interacting with the operating system. So there's overhead involved with running PowerShell versus Cmdlets, but it's not nearly as much as if you had it including. Anyway,
What did you say was the command runs on PowerShell?
just PowerShell. You can go to start run PowerShell and run it. There's two versions. We've got 64-bit version of Windows. There's the x86 version and the 64-bit version. So if you're running Windows 7 or above, you might see two commands running 64-bit version of Windows.
What is the relationship between PowerShell and DOS?
DOS? Well, DOS is an old, antiquated operating system. So DOS actually ended its life cycle in Windows ME.
Okay, the DOS window still exists in Windows 7.
Yes, the command line, Cmdlets, but this is not actually DOS. I know a lot of people call it DOS, but it's not. It's more of just a command line to interact with the operating system. The differences between this and PowerShell is a layer of abstraction. Now, this is actually interacting directly with files on the operating system. If you were to imagine Bash within Linux, this is closer to Bash within Linux, where this would interact directly with files. So what you're doing here is kind of a rep model where you read, execute, print commands. So things like dir, all you're doing is you're executing a command and it's printing output. So you're typing in the command and printing output. Versus things like PowerShell, where what we're doing, instead of getting just text output, we're getting objects as output. You'll see that it's different when I do this. I'll get more of how to create variables in a bit, but so the difference between command lines and PowerShell is that what I did right there with dir was actually outputted text. Merely that's all it did. Whereas in PowerShell I outputted an object whenever I command.
And we can tell that how?
By getting the type. So here at the moment, since I store that into a variable, so this object into a variable. You'll see me type in the x.x type.
Okay.
But I'll go more into that in just a moment. But just PowerShell is more of an interface, a command line interface between you and .NET. And then .NET framework is the one that interfaces with the operating system. So command line is actually between the shell between you and the kernel, kind of. So it's a little bit lower on the food chain, sort of. And the .NET framework, since it's got this huge extensibility, this huge set of libraries, you can call those within PowerShell, but you can't call them within command. So the normal commands in PowerShell, it's much like a command line where you give it the commands, but the commands are generally formatted in verb, noun, syntax, verb dash noun. So specifically the command giving is get dash highlighter. You have the parameters, so you type in a dash and the parameter name. And then you have each argument right after the parameters. And we have to separate those all out versus bash, where if we wanted to untar something, we type in like tar dash x dash b dash z dash f, where you can just combine them all in x b z f dash x e d f. We have to separate them all out here. So it starts getting wordy, as I mentioned earlier. So commands look really, really long. But so long as the command line will recognize, you can shorten the way that looks by I can use tab completion to finish commands. Because there's only one key there, I can do dash P desktop. Let's do // desktop. It's a terrible example, sorry. It's PA. We can shorten the path into PA. P would be used for something else. So if you want to reduce the amount of words, you just slim down commands. But so long as the command is not ambiguous, there's no other command with P as starting the character. It's like other command lines where you can add and remove to certain files, but the way that PowerShell works is that since everything is an object, even though you're working in your current work, I think that part of the script is converting integers for getting sizes of PSD.
You're younger than me, can you see that? Okay.
I'll give you the path to the presentation right after.
Awesome.
So you'll have a link to that. You don't have to know this right now. You have a link to the PST file.
Life and password is
Tweet us now or no spaces. PowerShell is like a cross between programming language and command line session. So Bash has scripting capabilities, PowerShell has is virtually a language. That operates kind of a scripting language. It's a strange meld between the two. But what I'm doing here, I've got a few examples of the different types of loops versus, I don't have a comparison language to write it against. I should put Python or JavaScript up there. JavaScript looks almost similar to this, where the for each loop is similar in that respect. And what I'll do is I'll run the first example. So CLS will clear the screen. Your content will be seen. Oh, sorry. Anyway.
Do you know of lots of people implementing their daily tasks or using this as a glue to hold other things together to create packages? In other words, who's using PowerShell to the extent you're describing?
Systems administrators, so the people using our systems have
Daily tasks?
generally.
Okay.
I wouldn't use it much more than that, unless you want to script it within the operating system and wanted to use anything other than C#. You don't have to load anything. If you've already got PowerShell, you've got all the binaries loaded, so you used to have to, whenever you compile the program with Visual Basic, you have to do all these one-time libraries with it. PowerShell, the one-time libraries are already included in the operating system, so if you didn't want to include one-time libraries and you wanted your thing to be open source, you use PowerShell for that. Generally, sysadmins are the ones who use the PowerShell.
So as long as all the machines in your organization that you're targeting with these cron jobs that you've done with PowerShell, as long as every machine that you're targeting PowerShell to do something on has the right OS, has the libraries already loaded, it'll do it.
Yes. So long as the operating system is Windows XP, Service Pack 3 and above, with .NET 2.0 installed, and PowerShell installed.
Okay, so even the client machines that you want to target with some task have to also have PowerShell, and does that PowerShell have to have admin permissions on that machine?
It depends on the task you're doing.
Okay.
So if I wanted to get a certain type of, if I wanted to get logs from another computer, I could use PowerShell from my computer and I don't have to have it installed on the other. But if I wanted to set scripts to run at a certain time, with a cron job to down those other computers, I had to have the PowerShell installed. So if I were collecting scripts, if I would set this computer up to be a collector for scripts, then I could use PowerShell and just this one I don't have to have installed on the other ones. I guess I would install it on all the computers in the network anyway, because the admins are going to walk around and they're going to try to do things on your computer without installing the admin tools, and this is a great way of doing it. PowerShell is really great because, like SSH, you can use remote PowerShell sessions against servers.
Oh, nice.
So if you had a specific tool that you couldn't use on the computer right there because you didn't have the right things installed, then you just use a remote PowerShell session to your server with Exchange admin tools, and you could run the Exchange admin tools from a PowerShell session on your XP workstation when it's installed. So it's kind of weird. That's one way of doing it. I won't go into that one right now because that one's actually rather complicated. And there's two ways of running remote PowerShell sessions. One way is actually going to the other computer, and the other one's actually staying on your computer running commands against it. It's weird. Anyway, so back to the functions, like other languages, we have this for each function. So for each variable in this set of objects, this object, or each property in this object, do something with this object. So one of those set of Windows remote management utilities within PowerShell. Now this becomes more important within Windows 7 and the other operating systems beyond XP. I won't go into that right now. Just understand that the command shell that you work with in PowerShell may not start in a C drive or a B drive. It could start in a registry, or it could even start in Active Directory, because the Active Directory tools that come with Windows Server 2008 also creates a PowerShell drive for Active Directory, so you can browse through it just like a file system. Okay. Now, whenever we want to do commands, we can type those into other commands.
Can you run a batch file with parameters?
Yes. I wouldn't recommend it though. I'd rather create a PS1 file. You can do a PS1 file with parameters as well. PowerShell script. I wouldn't run a batch file anymore on script PowerShell. You really don't have a need, because you can run all the same commands within PowerShell as you can within the command line.
Sometimes the results change and you want to use that result as a parameter to other things.
Yes. Now within batch, you use the percent, and then you define it as a kind of a variable within the command line using the percent sign and a number. So like %1 is the first parameter, and %2, or sorry, argument. %1 is the first argument, %2 is the second argument. And then you make variables within batch. What we're doing here is we're actually making those variables within PowerShell. Parameters will change, and I'll show you in just a moment what we can do to, let's say, filter text files. Or, so, get-help space get-help examples. Now let's just show this a bit. Get-help, just get-help. And I'll show you how you can use help. You need this type called help. Help is this now is. Now, operator uses words rather than the characters, less than and equals. So the characters for less than are LT, less than or equals LE. So in between this X here, so this is the variable, and then this is the value you want to compare to the variable. We have the LE, so it's less than or equal to 5. This one's greater than 0. EQ is equal. Other things like ands, ors, or nots, those are also words too. So if you want to do an if statement where x equals 1 and x equals or does not equal or less than 0. Sorry. If you want to do x is less than 1 or x is greater than -5, you have to do an AND operation, and that is different. I'll show you in just a second with this. So I'll just make one real quick. X equals 1, and what I'll do is x is less than available in PowerShell. I can set the second command and then take that output forward to the first command. So that doesn't exist yet, but it'll exist in PowerShell.
But we can recurse through directories to get information.
Yes.
Like find.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So if you want to look in the directory, dir ls get dash child item. If you want to look at something specific, if you just want to get one, get dash item, and that's going to get that item. Since the items are all objects anyway, the way this is going to work is the same in almost all of the PowerShell drives. Except you'll see more when you go to HP local machine or something. HP current user. So you'll see different types of properties you can use. I'll go back to here. So explicitly and implicitly typed variables are offered. Different types of data types like long, doubles, ints, strings, boolean values. Everything's an object. Keep going over this. Comments are just pound signs. Script files within PowerShell. I forgot to mention this earlier. Script files are saved as .ps1 files. Now those are supposed to be for PowerShell version 1. Now, when PowerShell version 2 came out, they kept the PS1 extension on files because want to confuse admins in the future, but they wanted to make it backwards compatible. Yeah, backwards compatibility with it. Most admins just set PowerShell 2 scripts, .ps1 extension. PowerShell 3 scripts are going to change the extension, or they're going to have a PowerShell specific script. But we'll see if anybody actually sticks with that. Microsoft themselves, even their scripts that they distribute for PowerShell 2 and up, have .ps1 extensions. And PowerShell modules is one thing I won't get in this session, but PowerShell modules are kind of like commandlets. Anyway, those are .psm1 extensions. There's 4 characters. Okay, so like other languages, we have our comparison operations. We have do while loop, if statements, if true equals false, when the world ended, else, still alive. So we also have Boolean operations within PowerShell, and those are defined as true and false. $sign true, $sign false. But those are reserved. Those are reserved within a session. You can't really rename them. You can, it takes a lot of work, but you can't really rename them. So since they're reserved, if you ever want to compare something, let's say if x equals 1 or if x equals 1 equals true, or equals false, sorry. You can make some really confusing if statements if you do if in parentheses x equals 1, so $x eq1 parentheses dash eq false, and then you can switch those around. You make some really weird statements, but you can use the true false as a comparison as well. Those are actual objects too, the types. So true, and then let's set x equals true. And now x is a Boolean object. There's a slide in here that we'll get to in just a moment. I put it in the wrong order. Real quick. Okay, so in PowerShell you have all basic functions within most languages. PowerShell is implicitly typed language, meaning that you don't have to define whether or not this is a string or not. So in this example I'm showing that x is a string, I'm getting the type from x. So x.get type. Since we're dealing with objects, all the variables have functions attached to them. So some of the native functions are get type, one of the native functions are get type. So like JavaScript where you create an object and then you can add functions to that object. Variables within PowerShell are much like that as well. So whenever we create a variable, it's an object. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm executing the function that get type against this object. It's showing it's a string. Now I make x equal 2, now an integer, back to a string, it's a string. So look at here, it's different. Now I'm actually explicitly defining it as an integer, and we can use, within the slide, you see the presenters notes, you'll see a bunch of different types of explicitly defined ways of showing x. So what we're doing here is we're showing x equals 2, x will be equal to 4. But now I'm trying to set x back to a string, and I'm just going to error out. So since we explicitly defined it as an integer, that's when it's going to error if we try to set it to another dead end.
How do you clear that out?
You can remove the variable. And that's one thing I didn't show tonight because that's something you wouldn't normally do within scripts unless you really needed a reason to do it. Because every time you execute a script, it's it's going to create new variables within that script, and we're going to clear them all out at the end anyway. But we have x, x is equal to true. You have a variable of x within your PowerShell session. Now, there's two ways to do this actually. There's the package way that I always do whenever I just want to clear it out, whenever it's in line. But what we're doing is we're selecting specific that property in line. But what we're doing is we're selecting specific that property. Command line also works, so if you want to go to the history, you can hit up down. And if you want to go left or right, you can type out all commands. Also, if you hit F9, you go to a certain space, a certain part of the history, you get commands. So those quick ones like other shells, you can start typing out a command and then tab complete. So get child item, hit tab, and you can complete that. If you type in path, you only want to type in PA, hit tab. As long as it cycles through this. You can just do a blank dash and start tabbing through. So shift tab will go backwards, tab will go forward. And that'll go through the list of different properties or parameters you can use within that. Now let's say
This is awesome. I mean, command completion is very helpful. It'll help me when I don't know the commands to figure out what's available. Does it also have, when you throw an error, does it have error explanation?
yes. So let's do get child item / folder that doesn't exist.
Nice.
Use the dollar sign here, or that thing. I'll give this in just a moment, but I'm going to use that real quick. So this is the error it's going to throw. It's going to be really hard to read that right now.
Yeah.
So the error is up here. Okay, now find path, /, setting, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't exist. Now, if you notice, I use this little tick here, and that's the one where the tilde is at. That is the escape character within PowerShell, whereas other languages use a slash, and before the character you want to escape, that is the escape character within PowerShell. So that tick, if you want to use special characters within the command, that tick is what you want to use. We'll forget that one for now. There's also aliases for where objects. That's a question mark. Where objects, _ process name, not process name, equals that. Okay, so another thing that I forgot to mention is that there's a slight difference between single quotes and double quotes. You can use them almost trading off every once in a while, except that single quotes is explicitly defining them as a string within that current instance. So it's a literal string, just a literal string notation. So single quotes is a literal string, and then double quotes is not a literal string. Oh, you mean using double quotes? Yes. Yes. Here we'll see $y. So the escape character again. That's where it's supposed to be. That's supposed to be. That's what you're talking about, right? Yeah. Okay. Text. You'll see help on the right hand side. You see the output in the center. Those mostly the same. The windows just all crazy. I like this editor better right now. I only use the PowerShell ISE free thing for a little bit. But down here I'm just running basically echoing a command. This script specifically is actually taking ID3 tag data from MP3s. So I'm just reading a file stream into variables and outputting that. And here's what's showing. So it's kind of interesting. But we'll talk about PowerShell 3 because that comes out in a few months. It comes out in October. PowerShell 3 technically should come out in September. Should have been gold in August, triple gold in August. The CTP is out, the Community Technology Preview. It introduces 700 extra commandlets. It also introduces other new commandlets like invoke REST method, so I can use APIs on the internet. Specifically the one I'm using here is the Google Translate API. I wiped this out because I paid for that one. These queries is carries. Anyway, so for hello, good evening, hola, ¿cómo estás? Anyway, so there's a lot of native commands like scheduling tasks. Before within PowerShell, the scheduling tasks was kind of a pain because you had to use the native command line, the app command. You had to use net to map network drives. Those are all native commands. Really cool ones are managing remote hard disks and VHDs. VHDs are generally used for virtual hard drives. It's a virtual hard drive. That's the name of it. So you can actually manage those virtual hard drives remotely. So let's say, since Windows Server 2012 changed the paradigm of deploying services, if I deploy the Active Directory service, I can use PowerShell from a distance. Let's say the Active Directory service failed and it's not corrupt. I can use PowerShell remotely to check the VHD, see if it's where the sectors are at, and repair them from my computer rather than the server. And that's a really great way of doing it. I don't have PowerShell 3 installed here because I will need Windows 7 installed, and it's not PowerShell. Another cool thing is the show command has this new window that pops up. So if you're a total noob, using the get command, you see other commands you've got available. But if you use the show command, you see this window pop up that shows you all the options that you can fill in. And it's cool because you can start filling in all this URI information, all this information. It's kind of blurry here, sorry about that. The screenshots are rather large, the window's rather large. But you fill out all this information, you put run, and it runs on commands within PowerShell, which is with a GUI up front though. So if you do like a shutdown-I command, in the normal command line, you'll see that pop up that pops up, which tells you when you want to shut down. Same type of style. Persistent PowerShell sessions. One thing I didn't get into that'll take a long time to discuss is PowerShell sessions, where you can remotely connect to another workstation. Persistent PowerShell sessions allows you to connect to that server, and if it ever times out, you can reconnect, have the same exact session. So the same variables, scripts, functions that you were running before are still available, versus if they disconnect by the time you have the old window.
You mentioned creating an SSH connection. This immediately brings up red flags for security for me. Does Server 2012 or PowerShell 3 bring new security options to the table?
Yes. Well, they're very minor though.
Okay.
So
something to look at.
yes. So using remote PowerShell sessions, you can't use a certificate sometimes.
Okay.
But you can use SSL.
Yeah,
It runs through
Active
SSL.
Directory.
Well, it's SSL. So they have port 4.3 open on their end, and you're connecting through SSL to theirs. So the session in between with the computers is encrypted. It's just that you don't present yourself a public key or a private key. Well, there's no public-private key between the two. So, but you can add trusted workstations. So that's one thing you can look at. I did that with our servers, our Exchange servers back where I used to work. I added certain workstations to be public or trusted workstations and trusted user accounts. That already existed, but persistent PowerShell sessions is new, it's awesome, it's great. Workflows, that's a huge addition to PowerShell. So basically, it just allows them to start and pause and resume any scripts that you run. So let's say your server shut down in the middle of a script that was checking for sectors of maintenance. If the workflow is interrupted, it's going to resume from the last point in that workflow. You define that workflow in the beginning of the PowerShell script, and you execute that workflow in order on the script. So as soon as you restart your computer, let's say packages are installed and you're just checking hard drives or something for corruption, you can resume that workflow from where it last left off. And if you want to know more about PowerShell, I recommend this book. And the book's really big. It really is big. I had the first edition. The first edition is like half the size of this. The first edition is still pretty good. It's pretty accurate, but it only goes on PowerShell 1. It only lightly mentions PowerShell 2. This one completely covers PowerShell 2. I don't know if there's a third edition coming out. Probably is. The guy who wrote this was one of the first members on the PowerShell team. He's one of the guys who basically chaired the team. So there are two people, Bruce Pay, this guy, and I could do his name, but the other guys really use PowerShell. So if you have any more questions, though, I can go into them. If you want to know how the language is defined, a lot of the stuff I was talking about tonight is a little dry, and I kept repeating myself. So if you have anything that you specifically want to do, I can help you with that. I can show you how to do it now.
Is there more like expect on PowerShell?
Like, what do you mean?
Like I put in a command, it shows a response, and if I can grab that response, I can do something.
Okay.
And it, yeah, basically.
Yes. What type of example would you do? Like a ping? Like if the ping latency was less than a certain amount?
Yeah, like if, well, it's kind of like router configuration.
Yeah, so like in Bash, let's say you wanted to do show the config value, like show config and this
Yeah.
config, and you wanted to do something based on whether config had this certain parameter.
Right.
Yes, PowerShell can do something like that, but it doesn't operate the same way as Bash does. Linux was, well, Bash was mostly oriented around text files and manipulating text. So whenever you uploaded a file, it just outputted that text, and then you based your next part of the script based on whatever the text was. Now with PowerShell, because everything's an object, what you're doing is you're searching for specific objects instead of a specific type of text. So your expectation is that there's going to be an object with this in it.
Can I do like a regex spec or something? Like if
You can do
have the text, actual text, and
You can do regular expressions within PowerShell. Oh man, I haven't created one in a while.
I mean, at a high level,
You can.
okay.
You can do the same regular expressions that you can do in any of the .NET languages that you can do in PowerShell. In fact, you can even write C# within PowerShell, compile it within PowerShell. It's a little weird, but you can run C# within PowerShell if you wanted to just take some example code.
That's another issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I use a backend script to call PowerShell to do a function? For example, I want to register a student on a website, and he puts in all his information. And I run a backend script to grab that information and then put that information back to the record.
Are you talking about having a web form?
Yeah, web form, or then the backend could be either Python or
Where's it storing?
Rails. Sorry?
Storing to a database?
Active Directory?
Wait, no. The web form, where is that being stored to first?
SQL Server.
Either SQL Server or text file or.
Cmdlets exists for SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server already. So you can do that. Text file is fine too, because you can go through each line of the text file.
DB or whatever.
So that test of text, let's go back to that real quick. So if you go through the test of text file, you'll see that there's a bunch of lines in here.
Yes.
We can import that into a variable, so let's do new variable equals, dash content, test.text. So it's going to import all the content of test.text into the variable. You're going to see it. That is actually text, and it's an array. So let's do first line, let's do blank, let's do third line, 37. Terrible at this. There. So just like an array, we can declare certain lines in the variable. So since we stored this into an array rather than a text file, we can declare a certain part of that array. So
So you're suggesting you have the backend script put into a database and then use PowerShell to read that database.
yeah, I recommend that. Or if you want to do a text file, you can store it into a text file and read specific lines of the text file like this. So what you can do is you can do,
But it has to be in a format that you can put in.
maybe,
It has to be an active directory format or something.
doesn't have to be.
Okay.
So let's say I wanted to grab, you're always expecting to be a certain way. Now, since each one's outputting as a certain line, I have to do something a little bit weird. I go through sort of every single line in the variable. I'm just going to do just those. Line plus equals, just like the iteration operators, plus plus, plus equals. Line is equal to check 22. Alright, plus equals. Something crazy. Alright, so anyway, databases are better. What you can do is though, is you can skip to that certain part. You can skip to that certain part of the line. If you just store it into another variable, you can create that. This question mark is a where object. Sorry if it's a little blurry, but the question mark is a where object again, so where dash object. And what I'm doing is I'm filtering where the objects within this get process outputs, process name equals notepad. So I'm just finding the next nearest notepad session, and then I'm putting in text. I can even have 2 notepad sessions open, and we'll add text again. And keep doing that over and over and over again. So what else? The other things I'm doing, I'm actually declaring the reflection assembly, the visual basic reflection assembly, and then activating, I'm bringing that notepad process to the front based on the ID. And then I'm loading some forms to send a certain text. I can even do the alt command. So percent, I think it was A or ALT. Alt F X. Oh no, I'm sorry. Oh, anyway, you can look that up and see. You can send alt, control, escape, tab, all special characters. So if you wanted to open up a game or something, type in some characters, plug yourself in. Here you go. You can do that. Go to the dialog. Once they do though, you have a full auto program. Bot. But, as a person. Here's the ID3 tag one I was using earlier. I got some of this example code from, this is the file streaming from the PST one, where they're actually detecting PST versions based on the first few bytes of the file. And with ID3 tags, they actually store all the information within the header. ID3 version 1 is the first 128 bytes. I'm loading up the first 128 bytes, and then I'm reading it to the file stream, storing all the information, and then I'm outputting certain sections of bytes. I can't run this right now because this file doesn't exist on this workstation. Those are some cool things that are new if you're not.
Yeah, they need MP3s on there to show them that.
No, that's just a VM I set up so I can hack Windows SP. So no, sorry. But those are some things you can do if you're not really into doing sysadmin work. Is it a Windows device?
Yeah, it's a regular laptop. Let's say I'm a school, right?
Oh, well that's what you're talking about. I thought you were talking about like switches and routers.
No. I'm a school and I have 200 laptops coming in and I want to get working on them.
Okay, so beyond PowerShell, that already existed. That functionality existed.
Okay.
So that exists when you need to create IPsec, and you can create sections of the network so that when you can check the health status of the computer. So you create different sections of the network. The computer connects, checks its health based on I've got the big long term for it, but you check it against a network policy server, and you check the health status. If it's determined it's healthy, it goes to a different part of the network, and it's not. And that's all configurable based on something PowerShell doesn't need to provide. You can do it in PowerShell, so that as soon as the IP equals a certain range, you have this constantly running script. If the IP equals this, or the router equals this, then go GP update, check for updates.
Okay.